The Queen of Granada, by M. Riff. Chapter 143, The Vandals. Life at home had not been easy for Rita either. Her biological mom had run off with another man, leaving her and her baby brother alone with her father, who was emotionally distant. Things were bearable until a stepmother moved in, showering her little brother with attention. To complicate matters, this stepmother also worked as the school psychologist. Rita felt like she had no choice but to buy a one-way ticket, pack her school bag, and leave. Since arriving in Spain, people had been curious about where she was from. Depending on their backgrounds, they had preconceived notions about Denmark, not all of them positive. Some even had the strange idea that Denmark was some sort of porno country. Rita couldn't anticipate how people would react when they heard she was from Denmark. In an effort to change the subject and avoid prying questions, she added, "I'm here to learn Spanish." The owner of the bookstore had a completely different view of Denmark compared to what Rita had encountered so far. He muttered, "A couple of thousand years ago, the Cimbri and the Teutons left Jutland and headed south. I'm convinced they would have ended up in Andalusia if the Romans hadn't stopped them in a bloody battle in northern Italy. The Vandals were luckier, they made it through, came here, and even crossed over to North Africa. Then, we had the Vikings visiting us for raids, and now, here you are." It seemed as if the man was holding Rita responsible for the Viking raids, making her feel unwelcome. That wasn't his intention, so he explained, "Over millions of years, migratory birds have followed air currents, flying the same route from the cold north to the south. I'm sure that people in ancient times watched those birds in the sky as they left Africa and spread across the world. Where the birds were welcomed, so were the people. But those birds fly in groups, and it seems to me like you've flown down here all by yourself." Despite his blindness, the man appeared well-read and well-traveled. Rita didn't know how to respond. She hadn't learned about the Cimbri, Teutons, or migratory birds in school. After a long pause, the man stroked his beard and asked, "What do you know about Granada's history?" Wanting to make a good impression, Rita gathered her knowledge of the area and replied, "I know that the city was built by the Moors, and more than 500 years ago, they left everything behind and returned to Morocco, their place of origin." The man chuckled and said, "That's the shortest version of the city's long history I've ever heard." Then he inquired, "Do you know the name of that red castle up there?" Rita responded with a quick, "Yes, Alhambra." She felt like she was facing a dual exam in geography and history as the man leaned in over the desk and asked, "And do you know what Alhambra means?" Rita replied, "I believe it translates to the Red Castle."